we're going to go to phase 2. And phase 2 is, I mean, it's not the most packed. I think it has 6. Yeah, 6 again. Phase 3 has like 9 or 10 or some shit. But yeah, phase 2, it was pretty hard to figure out if phase 2 or phase 3 was better. I mean, phase 3 is better just because it had the ending of the Infinity Saga, but and everything came into, fruition. But phase 2 definitely gave it a run for its money. We are gonna go from, again, we're gonna go from 6 to 1. All right, and number 6, begrudgingly, is Ant-Man. And I love Paul Rudd. That's my guy. And this movie was hilarious, but they just didn't give him enough talent around him. And it was like, that was the argument with Thor 1 was, they put hella talent around Hemsworth. Well, on this one, yeah, they gave him Michael Douglas, but other than that, you don't really know anybody on this list. Evangeline Lilly, I'm a movie guy, and I didn't know who she was before this movie. So, Corey Stoll as the villain, which is ridiculous. Like, he was terrible. He was probably the worst villain. No, I'm not gonna say the worst villain in the MCU, but he's close. He's close. He's definitely close. I would have to do research on that, but he's damn close. And then you don't even know anybody else. Michael Pena, that's my dude. That's my dude too. But you think they paid out the ass to get Michael Pena? No, no. They just got him. They were like, yeah, it's a comedy movie. It needs more comedy. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but give it some oomph, man. So yeah, I mean, while it was phenomenally funny, because Paul Rudd is just, he's great at what he does. And Evangeline Lilly didn't do bad. She wasn't bad. She was pretty good, but I would take her over. Nah, never mind. I wouldn't take her over Paltrow. They get some. Yeah, they didn't even give him a good, Haley Atwell, Natalie Portman, who did I just say? Gwyneth Paltrow. Come on, guys. You could have gave Ant-Man somebody. You could have gave him somebody. But yeah, it wasn't terrible that she did it. Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas and my boy Michael Pena. They pretty much carried the movie. And they put the little Anthony Mackie cameo, which, it was kind of funny. But it was just comedy. That's all it was. So for Ant-Man 1, reported budget between 130 and 170 mil, and it brought in $500 million. So definitely probably the biggest thing Paul Rudd has ever been a part of, other than the phase 3 movies, but where he's starring, this is probably it's probably the biggest one. All right, so Ant-Man is number 6. Number 5, which is going to be very, very ill received by anybody listening, but it is Avengers Age of Ultron. This one was a complete letdown for me. It was just it wasn't even, it just wasn't as good. It wasn't even as good as the first one to me. And I think it's because of the guy they got to voice the villain, the guy they got to voice Ultron. Like, who wants? Come on, guys. You got the guy from Blacklist. Like, Blacklist wasn't even a good show, and he wasn't even good in it. James Spader, like, come on, guys. James, come on. As a villain, like, I mean, he looks like a pedophile, but as a villain, guys, come on, man. James Spader, not in the MCU. Maybe, in a psychological thriller where, the bad guy is like your neighbor who like lures women over and kills them. Like Disturbia. He could have played the guy in Disturbia. But nah. Not for Age of Ultron. Come on, guys. I needed somebody sinister voicing that shit. Get me fucking, I don't know. Give me Tom Waits or somebody. I don't know. I'm spending too much time on James Spader. James Spader sucked. He was terrible. He ruined it. And then they just overloaded. They just overloaded this movie. It was just too much. Like, Vision was good. The introduction of Vision, that was obviously, a highlight. What else? And the way it started, the first couple scenes were pretty good. It was just like, once James Spader came into the picture, it was just downhill from there. And there was nothing you could do about it. You just had to sit there and take it. But this is how you know, okay? The budget was double, at least double what they spent on the first Avengers movie. And they brought back $100 million less. So they brought in $1.4 billion, which is still a crazy amount of money, but you spent double on it. I mean, I can assume that you expected profits to go up. You expected that number, the revenue, to go up. No. They made less. They made $100 million. I mean, if you're talking about, they spent $220 million on the first Avengers movie. The second Avengers movie, this movie, we're talking about between 440 and 500 million they spent on this. And you made $100 million less than you did on the first Avengers. It's just sad, bro. It's just sad. I've spent too much time on Avengers Age of Ultron. And the only reason it's above Ant-Man, is because as shitty as James Spader was, at most, I can only tie him with Corey Stoll, who played in House of Cards, which is dope. And he's another guy from Midnight in Paris. He played fucking Ernest Hemingway. And I didn't even like him in that. It was like, yeah, I don't know. Don't get me started. All right, so this one's definitely not going to be well received. But number 4 is going to be Iron Man 3 for me. That's just for me, and it's only because the 3 that I have in the top 3 literally couldn't be anywhere but the top 3. I couldn't put the third one. It just wasn't. And they spent $200 million on this one, but they brought back $1.2 billion. So yeah, and we're talking about just Iron Man, just RDJ and Guy Pearce as the villain, which he didn't do bad. I think it was really the character that got it, you know, to the point where it wasn't terrible. Because Guy Pearce, yeah. Mm, mm, mm. But yeah, I mean, of all the Iron Mans, this had the best story. This definitely had the best story. It was Ben Kingsley. Oh, Ben Kingsley as the as the terrorist guy, and then oh my god, yeah. And then you find out like he's not even a real guy. Yeah, yeah. Iron Man 3, it had the best story of all the Iron Mans, and probably it might be up there in top 5 stories for the MCU. I'll get into that in another time. But yeah, Iron Man 3 did its job, and like I said, Gwyneth Paltrow, the best performance she had in one of the, you know, in one of the Iron Mans. But I think for the most part, this was story and Ben Kingsley and Guy Pearce and RDJ did his thing. This is when he was having panic attacks and shit from seeing the alien, seeing the wormhole. Oh man, and he never have him after that. Like I found that super weird. But yeah, I guess movie magic. But yeah, 1.2 billion for a standalone movie is ridiculous. Like I think that was the first one that had that kind of reaction. All right, so number 3, we get the always loaded Thor Dark World, where you actually had phenomenal villains. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. The Dark Elves? Nick, what? The Dark Elves? And then they had the Berserker? Oh my god. Yo, the Berserker was my dude. That pussy was going on everybody. And then the only way they could kill him was with some shit from the Dark Elves. They didn't even kill him themselves. It was just some shit from the Dark Elves. Like, they made him, they killed him. But yeah, Dark Elves, they did their thing. And then you finally had Natalie Portman coming face to face with Sir Anthony Hopkins. Magic. Magic. That's all I gotta say. Magic. But yeah, you had Stellan Skarsgård again, doing a great job. He was acting all aloof and crazy and shit. Yeah. And this one was, it was just, to me, it was a great one. Like, I don't say great a lot for Marvel movies because, like I said, the story usually isn't all there. It's usually like a comic book. Like, you get scattered chunks of story and you just gotta piece it together. Like, it's not what you do in a movie. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't, like I said, it was on the going very close to great. That's where it was. And that one, let's see what that one did in the box office. Budget between 150 and 170. Box office 645 million. So not the best, but definitely nothing to scoff at. Definitely nothing to scoff at. Malekith. Yeah, Malekith just did his thing, man. Did his thing. And that was Christopher Eccleston. Yeah, but he did his thing as Malekith. It was just phenomenal. Anyway. So yeah, that's 3. Number 2. which is probably it's in my top 5 of like my personal favorite Marvel movies. It's Captain America Winter Soldier. And that's mostly because of, them taking on Shield and, whoever, and Hydra, hiding in Shield, which was eerily similar to, America and Nazis. The story behind this one was great. Well, not great, but it was really good. Robert Redford. He did, I mean, for who he was playing, Alexander Pierce, I guess he did pretty good, but, pretty good. It was really just the fact that I think this is the one where they had the Sam Jackson scene where he's in the car and, you find out that his car is like fully stocked and loaded with, like you really find out like he's really the super spy in this one. Sebastian Stan got, more screen time as with the metal arm. I think that's the first time we saw the metal arm, actually. And then Skojo. Skojo was like, it was kind of like a buddy movie with Captain America and Skojo. So I, can't really say it was just a Captain America movie, but yeah, this is probably I would say number 2. The Russo brothers. I think, the Russo brothers. So, and that was I think that's the first movie that they directed. So, great introduction in the MCU with Captain America the Winter Soldier. So let's see. Box office. Budget, $170 million. Pretty modest. $714 million box office. So about $285 million off a bill, which is pretty good. I mean, like I said, I can't call it a standalone movie, and the only reason it's over Dark World for me is the implications that it has, like Shield, disbanding and dissolving and shit. And like I said, like Hydra literally hiding in plain sight inside thing. And then you had Dr. Zola in like he was like a computer system from like the 40s or 50s or some shit, and he was a whole fucking room computer. Yeah, it was, I mean, deserving of number 2. Deserving. Anthony Mackie, Emily Van Camp, that's when we got introduced to her. But yeah, it was a pretty good movie. Number 1 for phase 2. Number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And if you disagree with that, then you're wrong. I'm sorry. You are wrong. You are 100% wrong. This is the best movie of phase 2. Hands down, this is the best movie of phase 2. Now, caveat, they did overload this thing with talent. Chris Pratt, Zoe, then you have Brad Cooper, Vin Diesel saying his little, his 3 words and different inflections, which somehow made him the most lovable character. 3 lines. I mean, keep it simple. Keep it simple, people. You got Bradley Cooper as Rocket, but then you also got Michael Rooker, which he played, I guess, a little bit of the villain in the beginning. But who really, really took the show was I guess Lee Pace as Ronan. Yeah, as Ronan. And then they had Benicio as the collector. Of course. Of course. John C. Reilly in this one. Yeah. No, come on. They overloaded this thing with talent. But at the same time, it was a great movie. I mean, you had it's written and directed by James Gunn. So, I mean, do what you want with that information. But yeah, definitely the best one. I don't know if it had something to do with the outer spaceness of it, or if it was just like Chris Pratt and his ability to just improv, or I don't know if that was script, or I don't know, but it was just great. It was just great. I fucks with it heavy. So yeah, it's box office. Let me not do that. Box office, they spent 232 million reported. Yeah, between 200 and 230. And they brought in 772. So, yeah, I mean, not great. Not the best. I mean, they spent 220 on the first Avengers, but when we talk about that talent, I think they were definitely already established, and you had each of their individual movies do at least over 400, I think. I'm pretty sure in phase 1. So when you bring them back, when you bring them all in for Avengers 1, which you spent 220 mil on, and you probably got them cheap because, you got them on the contract before their first movies, then yeah, you're obviously going to get a bigger bring back. But to spend 230 on this movie, which I'm pretty sure was mostly you paying actors and paying the talent, because Benicio don't come cheap. Glenn Close don't come cheap. John C. Reilly, he might come cheap, but he's giving you your money's worth. Jimon Hansu, that's my guy. Karen Gillan, Michael Rooker, Lee Pace. But to bring in just the top five, you had to spend bread. Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel, and Brad Cooper. You had to spend just bread. So, it was pretty modest. 772 million. So that's pretty much it. Phase 2.